I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. His name is Justin Haskins. He is the editorial director at the Heartland Institute. He is also the editor-in-chief in stoppingsocialism.com and a co-author of my new book called Arguing with Socialists, which was a lot of fun to work on with you, Justin.
Yes, sir.
Let's start with the, you know what, let's begin with Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson just came out of the hospital and he said this. Listen.
We're making progress in this national battle because the British public formed a human shield around this country's greatest national asset, our National Health Service. We understood and we decided that if together we could keep our NHS safe, if we could stop our NHS from being overwhelmed, then we could not be beaten. And this country would rise together and overcome this challenge as we have overcome so many challenges in the past.
It is amazing to me, Justin, as I watch this in England. They have made this, they're raising funds, they're volunteering to be nurses, and I mean, it is crazy propaganda. And I want to say, you know, you guys have also paid a buttload of money and it's broken and not working, right? But they've made this into some form of national pride. It's crazy how this system is propped up.
Yeah, without question. And it's not just the system in England. That's single-payer healthcare across the entire world. You see this everywhere. Wherever they've tried it, you always get healthcare rationing. You always have too few services. You don't have enough providers. You have really long wait times. One of the best studies on that is in Canada, where they've looked at how long people actually have to wait from the time they get their general practitioner says we're going to give you a referral to go see a specialist to the time they actually receive treatment. People are waiting on average 5 months. And sometimes this is for medically necessary stuff like neurosurgery, for example. If you need neurosurgery, you're waiting 6 months in these countries, 7 months, 8 months. I mean, this is a nightmare. There's nothing to be proud of here.
I know people who have actually died waiting because they had cancer. And by the time they got to the specialist for the cancer treatment, it was too late for them. It's really insane. Americans they have no idea what we're dealing with. By the way, we have reached out to the English and the Prime Minister's office. We wanted to find out how was he treated to recover. It's really strange. They won't come forward with any of that information. Many in England tell me it's because private doctors probably were involved in his recovery. Tell me a little bit about Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders has a coronavirus idea that I'm afraid will take root in this country.
Yeah, it's called the Healthcare Emergency Guarantee Act. He just announced it, I think it was on Friday. I don't even think they've actually officially introduced the legislation yet. But essentially what it would do is it would provide Medicare for all, his Medicare for all plan, for every single American, whether you have health care coverage right now or not. It would be put the government in charge of paying for health care throughout the entire length of the coronavirus pandemic for as long as that lasts, and not just for as long as the pandemic is a serious problem, but all the way up until the point where we have a vaccine that's developed, approved by the FDA, and then officially distributed in a widespread manner. So this could be 18 months, this could be 2 years before this actually happens. This is without question a backdoor to put a permanent Medicare for all system into place.
The people think that it's crazy that we would nationalize things, that we would take over the supply chain. But I heard just today that the airlines have finally struck the deal with the White House to be able to get the $50 billion in bailout. And part of that deal, pushed by the White House, was that they had to pay a portion of it back and had to give the government a portion of their company. So we now as a nation own part of Delta or U.S. Our U.S. air carriers. That's insane.
Right.
Aren't we just moving down that road? Aren't we just moving down this road?
Question. Yeah, without question, that's exactly what we're doing. Everything that the federal government is doing right now, spending trillions of dollars it doesn't have, having the Fed pump trillions of dollars into financial institutions, now buying up parts of companies. There's been talk of the Fed potentially taking over some parts of companies, private ownership. I mean, this is getting absolutely insane. And it's happening so quickly that most Americans don't even realize what's going on. There's no time to pay attention to any of this. There's no time to focus on these real serious issues because people are panicked. People are afraid. The economy is in free fall. And the worst part of all of this is this is not because coronavirus has killed 10 million Americans. This is because the government has voluntarily chosen to shut down the entire economy. And now they're taking over parts of the economy because supposedly they're trying to save it. This is like setting the house on fire and then coming along and saying, well, you know, we set the house on fire. We know that. And now we're going to put the fire out for you, or at least part of it. But we're going to take partial ownership of the house while we do it. I mean, think about how crazy that is. And yet that's exactly what's happening.
So do we get health care back? Is there a chance of stopping this, Justin?
I hope so, but not unless the conservative movement has an alternative plan to present to the American people. And they haven't had that throughout this entire debate. We haven't had that for decades. What is our plan to fix these problems? Until we can present a clear, unified plan for solving this issue, I don't know how we get health care back. There has to be a unified plan. And I don't see anybody in the Republican Party even coming remotely close to that. They're almost as bad as Democrats right now.
Yeah. It's really disturbing. And I look at Switzerland. I'd take that over anything that has been presented, you know. And I mean, why are we taking an old idea from somebody else? But at least it's better than what we have now, and it is more free than we have now. Justin, thank you so much. And make sure you pick up the new book, Arguing with Socialists, available everywhere.